In today's lesson, we're going to look at the most common mistakes in basic English. Hello and welcome to another video. My name's Alex. Remember to subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss any of our lessons on Tuesdays and Thursdays. In today's lesson, we're going to look at 10 of the most common mistakes in basic English. I say basic English, but for some of you intermediate and advanced students out there, this will be useful too. I'm going to show you some mistakes, give you some time to think about what the problem is, and then give you an explanation after it as well. Let's have a look. Okay, so I'm going to show you some sentences and give you a little bit of time to figure out what the mistake is, and then follow that with an explanation. Let's have a look at the first example. So the first one is, she liked reading. What do you think the mistake could be here? And here is the correct sentence. She likes reading. So the mistake here was that we were missing the third person S. So it's good to remember this, that in present simple, for he, she, and it, we need an S on the end of the verb. A common mistake that lots of people make. The next example, I read a book at the moment. What do you think could be the problem here? So the mistake here was a mix-up between present simple and present continuous. Here we have two examples to clarify. The first one, I read a book every night, so that's present simple, thinking about a repeated action. And then the second one, I'm reading a book at the moment, which is the correct version of the mistake we just looked at. So we're talking about at the moment, now, just now, things like that. The next example, it's the cat of John. What's the mistake here? And here is the correct sentence. It's John's cat. So the problem was with the possessive S. We use this in English to talk about possession, obviously, and also to talk about relationship. So instead of saying it's the cat of John, we should say it's John's cat. The next sentence is, I'm agree with you. What do you think the problem is here? And here's the correct sentence, I agree with you. The problem here is that the student tried to use be with the verb agree. Now in many languages you have to do that, but not in English. So the rule here is don't use be with agree in present simple. So it's I agree with you, not I'm agree with you. It's an old television. What's the mistake here? And here's the correct sentence. It's an old television. The problem here is the confusion between a and an. So if the word coming after it starts with a vowel, A, E, I, O, U, then you have to use an, not a. The next example, I've lived in Scotland since 3 months. What's the mistake here? The problem here was a confusion between for and since. Let's look at these two examples. I've lived in Scotland for 3 months, so we use for to talk about the duration, for 3 months, for 3 years, for 10 years. And number 2, I've lived in Scotland since March, so since a time in the past. Since March, since 2009, things like that. And the next one, my sister, she is a doctor. What's the mistake here? In this sentence, the student repeated the subject, which we don't have to do in English. So we could have two different choices for a correct sentence here. It could be my sister is a doctor, or she is a doctor. But we don't have to repeat my sister and she because it's the same person and it's the subject of the sentence here. You're very good at English. This is another very common mistake, but what's the problem? These two words sound the same, you're and you're, but actually they're completely different. Let's look at the first one. You're very good at English. That was the correct sentence. So it's you are very good at English contracted to you're very good at English. And the second one, your English is very good. So it's you're the possessive pronoun. And that's the mistake here. The next sentence is, who's that girl? What's the problem here? This is similar to the last example in that these two words sound the same but are actually completely different. We've got whose and whose. Number 1, who's that girl? This is contracted for who is that girl? Who's that girl? And number 2, whose pen is this? Meaning who does it belong to? Again, we're talking about possession. And this is the last sentence we're going to look at. English is easier than Spanish. What's the mistake here? In this sentence, there's a mix-up between then and than. Let's look at sentence 1. English is easier than Spanish. So we'll use this in a comparative structure, than with an A. And the second one, I want to learn Spanish, then start learning French. So we're talking about the sequence of event. So you're going to do something, then something else. How many did you get right out of 10? Let us know in the comments below. Remember to follow us on social media. We have Facebook with daily updates, Instagram where we share some materials related to the lessons, Pinterest where we have lots and lots of learning materials, and now we also have a Twitter as well. See you on Thursday. At English Now, we're always looking for new ideas for lessons. Is there anything you would like to have a lesson on? Thinking about grammar, pronunciation, vocabulary, maybe related to an exam? If there is something you would like to see a lesson on, please let us know. You can contact us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or you can email us at englishnow.yt@gmail.com.